Now, just to make it easier for you to see, we've swung the table round for the threading, and all we're going to do now, I'm just going to do a straight draft, which is going to be threading shafts 1, 2, 3 and 4 and repeating. So I'm just going to be threading 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, if you're a newbie to weaving and you don't know much about weaving drafts, have a good read of the books. I've got lots and lots of info in them. So to begin, all I'm going to do is take the first thread, and I'm going to take the threading hook and hook it around there and bring it through the eye of the heddle. And we'll just push that out of the way. Then I want number 2, so I'm going to get the heddle ready. So I've got the heddle on the shaft number 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to take the second thread of my cross, and I'm going to go through the eye of the heddle, get my thread and pull it through. There we go, we've got 2 threaded, only 158 to go. So just scoot that one over, and now we take the heddle on shaft number 3 and through the eye, and we take the third thread, release it from the knot, hook it on and pull it through. So after you've threaded a few, it's always a wise idea to just check, and what I'm going to do is just check a couple of things. One, that the threads are threaded in the correct order, for example 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever your draft tells you to thread them in. And the other thing is just to check that the threads are through the eye of the heddle, not above it or below it. So I'm just looking, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all threaded correctly, lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, looking good. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then I'm just going to lift them up and make sure that they are actually all in the eye. Yep, looks good. And then we'll just do a wee half knot. Safety first, you don't want them all coming unthreaded when you're right across the other side. Okay, and just continue across the width of your warp. So now we've threaded everything and ticked them and tied them into a half hitch. Now all we have to do is slay the reed. So I'm going to remove the helping hands now. So we need to put the reed back on, use the cotter pins and put them through the hole and into the beater. That will hold it in place. And we'll take our reed and just put that on there. See if I can get it on straight, tighten her up, the other side on. And now we're just going to use our reed hook to thread the threads through the reed. This is called slaying the reed. So if you remember from the first video, our set is 20 ends per inch and our reed is 10 dents per inch. So that means we're going to have to slay 2 threads through each slot. So we take the first 2 and we bring them through. Then we take the next 2 and bring them through the next slot. And the next two. Again, I would suggest that do a little bit, half an inch or so, and just check that you've not missed any slots. Okay, and we'll just continue across the entire width until we have it all threaded through the reed. So after about an inch or so, just check that you've actually got every slot, and if you're happy with it, go ahead and tie the group in a knot. And we're just going to okay, and then continue threading. And as you make your way across the warp, when you tie your groups, just try and tie them in about the same spot. Okay. Okay, and once you've tied all your knots, we can release the beater. So we'll put our wee cotter pins back up the top. And we're going to tie on to the front stick. So I'm just going to wind the warp back a little bit because that is obviously too close. Okay, so we're going to tie it onto the front stick. And what I've done is just taken a length of string and I've put it over the front stick, and now I'm going to take the two ends and I'm going to go up through the centre of the first group and I'm going to come back around my front stick and up through the centre of the second group and around. I like this method of tying on because it's really easy to tension it rather than having to tie and untie knots to make sure you've got your tension right. You can just adjust the tension by pulling the groups. Then when we get to the end, we want to secure this on, and all I'm going to do is go around a few times and then just thread it through, tighten it up, and the same again, and the same again. Now this way, if we've got no knots down here, when we go to tighten it up, we can just twist this around. Okay. Now that feels pretty good to me. So we just want to wind the warp on, so our front stick comes back here a bit, and we're going to use some scrap yarn to weave a bit of a header, which is going to spread our warp, because you can see now we've got these triangles where the groups all come down to here, and we don't want that. We want them all nice and even. So I'll just roll the warp on a little bit. And a little more. So a nice easy way to spread the warp is just to open up the shafts, just a tabby weave. So I've just lifted shafts 1 and 3, and I'm taking some scrap yarn and I'm doubling it over the width of the warp plus a little extra, and I'm just going to place it in. Now I'm not going to beat, but I am going to change sheds now, so I'm going to lift shafts 2 and 4. And then I'm going to take another piece of my scrap yarn that's doubled over and place it in Again, I'm not going to beat, but I'm going to change the shed once more. So we're going to lift shafts 1 and 3, and I'm going to take another length of doubled over scrap yarn, and I'm going to place that in. And now I'm going to put all the shafts down and I'm going to beat. So that's almost got rid of all our little gaps. So we'll do that just one more time and then beat. So you see that's pretty good. And the great thing about doing this way is when you're finished, you can just pull out this header. So now we're ready to weave. This is just one way to warp your loom. There is, of course, heaps of different ways you can do it. Find a way that suits you. Visit your local Spinners and Weavers Guild. They're always willing to help out. See if you've got a weaving teacher in your area, but most of all, enjoy it.